All right, we are streaming live on Facebook. Thank you, everyone. We are on our weekly Tuesday talks here, brought to you by NAMI Greater Houston. We have an amazing panel today. It's someone you guys are probably very familiar with. We have our own Dr. Neal Sarahan, our Executive Director, and we have our Angelina Brown Hudson, our Director of Programs. So today's talk or discussion is brought to you by AARP, and we're going to be discussing some amazing things, which is going to be healthy coping strategies for the holidays and pandemic stress. I know this has been a very tough year for every one of us. So today you guys will learn some amazing strategies and skills to kind of help you through these hard times. We also want to bring to you a little bit as far as AARP in Houston. It's sponsored by AARP. AARP wants to help you stay connected, share ideas, and also help your neighbors. They have some amazing resources on their website. The website is www.aarp.org. /Houston. They also have a lot of information on coronavirus. They're working very tirelessly to inform you guys on how to protect older Americans and who are definitely at risk to be seriously impacted by coronavirus. They also have a big caregiving planning guide for families, which is amazing information that it also includes conversations with how to talk to your older family members, organizing their important documents, accessing their loved ones' needs, and locating other important resources for them. That guide is also available in English, in Spanish, in Chinese, Asian America, and also for the military and LGBTQ editions. If you guys want to go to aarp.org /prepare to care, you can find some definitely useful resources there. And they also have a lot of caregiving resources. Another one is their preparation tools. So being a family caregiver is one of the most important roles you will take on. So if you check out their information, they actually have a checklist that will help you get organized and find support that your loved one might need. And just go to the website and it will be under caregiving prep. So now we're going to start with our very own Dr. Neal. I will let you take it away, and then we will be discussing all the amazing things today about holiday and pandemic stress.
Thank you all. Thank you, Carmen. And thank you, Angelina, for helping me, and Lana and Marie and Chris, Asta, Marilyn, Diane. You're here on twice, Douglas and Patty, and those of our guests on the Facebook Live segment. I really appreciated the request from AARP to say, you know, y'all have something to say about the mental health stresses of the holidays, and we've been noticing that you have something to say about and something of value to give to the pandemic and the COVID-19 and pandemic that we are in. We have from the very get-go thought that the mental health challenges of the pandemic are as great or greater than the physical illness which we are encountering. I'll tell you that I am a COVID survivor. I'm still suffering or other people are suffering the impact of COVID on me. You know, and I think that in a lot of ways, when we talk about the impact of the mental health stresses of the holidays and of COVID, then we really are talking about the suffering that other people are doing because of the impact of those things on our loved one. And so we are talking about caretakers today, and if if I'm taking notes and I'm saying to myself, gosh, I really, I want to think about some of these things for myself as well. And if the, but I hope we can have a discussion, and I hope we can tune ourselves to the reality of the adjustments that are necessary going into holidays. So here's what I wanted to start with. Don't expect the same as you expected last year. You need to make a different plan. You need to, as Larry David says, curb your enthusiasm. Curb your expectations. And be peaceful about the fact that this holiday time will be measured down, and not bemoaning it, just realistically saying that there are limits on curbing our expectations is something that I think is helpful to start right now. It was helpful going into Thanksgiving. You know, did we see the mental health impact and the illness impact after Thanksgiving? It's 10 days later and the hospitals are filling up, and the tension in families is building up as a result of what, in my opinion, wasn't well planned for in terms of curbing expectations going into Thanksgiving. So to the extent that we didn't do that, my family had a complete crash on Thanksgiving with hurt feelings, with different expectations. I learned a lot about what I needed to be doing, what I didn't do at Thanksgiving. And so we're going to talk about some of those ideas here, and Angelina has a whole nest of them but they fall into the category of adjusting expectations.
And so for you guys that have joined in, we are speaking to our executive director, Dr. Neal Sarahan, and our director of programs, Angelina Hudson Brown. Today, we will be talking on healthy coping strategies for the holidays and pandemic stress. So if you guys want to leave any comments or questions, please put it on our chat and we'll review that before later on in the live.
And when I say adjust your expectations, my suggestion is don't do that out of a sense of grief. Do that out of a reality of just, hey, I think what will work this time in the holidays is what is it? You know, is it this much sleep? Is it this many events a day? Is it this many Christmas cards or holiday cards? Is it this many? It's what is the without apology. That's the this is our ownership of what we think we can do with this time, and helping everybody else think in terms of their expectations. So what I wanted to do now is just go and do a quick summary. Some of you have seen this of the set of expectations and the things that people want out of a holiday, or the things that people want in terms of of dealing with living in the middle of a pandemic. And this has been helpful for me to figure out when things are not going right. It's typically the case that there is one of these categories that is not being met, or that a person feels like they're not meeting. So I just wanted to quickly go over the fact that everybody that we encounter on this holiday and in this pandemic time is desirous of being competent, even at a time when we can't be competent, right? It's still the desire to be there. It is still the desire to make the contribution and the purpose of our lives have meaning to everybody, even at a time when it is very difficult to do that. Say, like, think about a parent who's lost their job, and they are the central source of gift giving, and they can't and they can't do it, and their purpose of generating contributions or generating love in their family is not possible, right? Think about the person who wants to be competent and usually gets that done in the context of their job, or in the context of sending their kids off to school and making sure that the school's getting the things done that they need to get done. And now they are responsible for how school's working in the house, and they don't feel very competent about it, right? Think about, in this third category, about the category of belonging. Even at a time when it is very difficult to belong, right? This is the difficulty that we are facing in terms of belonging, and people really got it wrong when they said we should practice social distancing. No, we need to practice physical distancing, but we need to accentuate our skills of belonging and social connection. And that's a new world that we are going through in this holidays. This is the first Christmas. It's the first holiday time. This is the first Hanukkah time. It's the first Diwali time that has been done all at a distance. And so much of these celebrations are about belonging. So the fourth one that I'm going to just zoom by is our independence. Every person that we encounter does not want to be overmanaged, does not want to coordinate their care plan or their ideas or their expectations for the holidays with yours. Sometimes everybody wants to have the means to gift or to celebrate in the way that they want to, and there are real barriers toward our ability to do that this year. And yet, every person that we encounter, and I really would like to add this as a component of my contribution for the day, is that if you can greet every person that you encounter appreciatively, know that they're doing their best. They're doing their best in oh gosh, uncertain circumstances. They are doing their best to be competent. They are doing their best to live with a sense of care and purpose. They are doing their best to belong and to connote belonging to others. And they're doing their best to be independent. And if our lens is about seeing how they're accomplishing that rather than how they're not accomplishing it. You know, not the saying of, come on, can't you show up a little bit here? Can't you get out of your glumps? That sometimes our lens is built toward noticing the part that's at deficit. And I think that if we can set our sights on the that communication may not have come across the way it felt like, but I feel like you're trying to communicate with me. that's a really different sentence than back off, Buster, because I'm already fried. And so I just offer this as a lens for how we approach people in the holidays. And I really would invite us to, I don't know if there are chats coming in. I don't know where exactly to to expand on this conversation right now. What do y'all think? What I'm asking about, first, curbing our expectations for what this looks like as people live it out in a time of pandemic, in a time of high stress. And we have to not experience, we have to not go for thriving. We have to go for surviving in these categories here. We have to avoid catastrophe in these these quadrants, and so I'm trying to kind of set the frame for you for what our expectations are. Do we have any chats? Do we have any discussion about that we want, Carmen? Or
we have a few comments of people just saying, as far as the comment you mentioned earlier, you also were going through your own kind of stress during Thanksgiving time. What were some of your kind of direct coping skills at that particular moment that helped you kind of navigate through that first holiday in this pandemic era that we have right now?
Good. I'd rather tell you how I blew it. And our successes are sometimes here was the deal for me. We overscheduled. We dropped out of communications with family members who felt left out. And as plans changed, we were so involved in the logistics of delivering the day and the weekend that that we didn't keep everybody coordinated up with as things changed. Then we made it even worse by, in our efforts to be happy with our extended family, we put out pictures of the communications. We put out pictures of the events we were having from which other people had been excluded. And so then they said, well, gosh, is there some problem there that we weren't invited? We didn't even know when this was going to be on. And all the while that we were working on this, we were saying, gosh, we went into mind block on this. We in our rush for getting the logistics of this thing done, we actually weren't thinking very well at all.
Got it.
We didn't have any time for reflection. We didn't make time for as plans change, you have to have this error detection system, and you have to say, oh, okay, we're working on a different plan. And so we had family members who were working on 4 different plans and seeing stuff on social media that told them they were excluded. There were some really hard feelings about it, and I was embarrassed. I was hurt for them, and I realized that we were talking about, gee, is it going to be outdoors or is it going to be indoors? If it's indoors, I'm not coming. If it's outdoors, I can come. Are we going to have a mask requirement? Are we not going to have a mask requirement? None of that was really communicated to everybody through the weekend. So we didn't understand what people's boundaries were. We didn't understand what people's choices had been made. And then the blowback from that was I didn't feel very competent. My wife didn't feel very competent, and we felt crushed. We felt like we had not delivered the social care that we intended. We had shattered is overextension, but we had really shaken the sense of belonging that all the people that we wanted to have. And we had not checked out other people's independent boundaries for how the time was going to go. Now, if that becomes a way for you to, for the group in the audience to think about, oh, okay, well, maybe we could learn on Neal, because he blew it so bad. And then I'll offer those as I'll offer those as suggestions. They're and then without totally beating up myself, I will say that in those categories, there were some things that that we made attention to. We made attention on this screen. You'll see that it's yellow in the middle here, and that connotes a desert. And then as you go out in the screen and the color, it gets greener, and there's more complexity. There's more life that goes on out as you get broader. And so I think we did do a decent job of saying, hey, we're not going to get all the way on anything. We're not going to get the highly complex, highly contextual, we're not going to go max on these categories. We did trim our expectations, but we just didn't do enough thinking going through it to check base. So that's one answer, Carmen. Are there other questions here?
So we have a question as far as, is there any way we can address strategies for those that are living alone? If any,
yes.
Or
yeah.
want to join that, or Neal?
Okay, and Angelina, I'm about ready to turn this over to you, and I believe that's there, but am I right? You nod your head if I'm right here or not. But the most desperate thing about the holidays, I believe, resides in this category of belonging. And the most serious challenge to our mental and emotional health is isolation. And so, whereas as we are living in a time of isolation, if I had to drop out some competence, independence, and social care, and I just really packed most of my attention into that feeling of belonging for those people who are isolated, then that would develop a whole set of strategies for making sure that there is dialogue, making sure that there is belonging and social purpose, and not inviting them to larger things than they can handle, not inviting them to, sort of the person at the wheelchair who is not. Everybody operates at a higher level that they are, and they're sort of included, but they're sort of not. The isolated uncles, the isolated aunts, the isolated person in schizophrenia, so that scaling down the way in which we're attaching belonging to what can really be chewed up, what could really connote that sense. And they are mostly about personal connections. That has to start there. And I'll jump over. I do have, and I'll be glad to put into the I'll be glad to put into the mix here a, a more complex look at what all these categories are. But there are a set of accommodations or recommendations that you should look at, and I'd offer this page here as a set of things that you could be thinking about. You need to change the work patterns or the holiday patterns. Just start with that assumption. You cannot reproduce the holiday schedule and work pattern that existed last year. You have to focus on a dialogue between how are we going to cope. This is not how are we going to celebrate. This is not how we're going to maximize. It's a dialogue about how are we going to cope. I've already talked about the ways in which we could accentuate the importance of identifying for each person, as many people as we can, but especially those that are isolated, what their social support is going to look like. I am dealing with a family whose mom just died, and for the first time in 70 years, that Tom is going to be alone on this holiday. We have 250,000 people who have died, and every one of those is a feeling of grief, which is a color of this holiday. Grief is a color of this holiday. Relaxation strategies. I can't tell you, yes, I can, about how much my wife has to work on relaxation strategies, because the intention toward being worthy and being accelerated and doing it right, it makes you get into a fast gear that this situation cannot. So actually building some coping strategies for relaxation, is like convincing a kindergartner that they need a nap. We all need naps, right? We all need breathing. Promoting health and fitness. This holidays is not a fantastic holiday to get sugared up and to get liquored up and to get and to just sit around and be indoors. It's weird. I mean, mostly we pick up those things after the holidays and say, yep, we got to get back on it. But if we pay attention to those things this year in terms of saying, what rhythms do we have for health and fitness? Are we going to put in a morning walk? Are we going to put in a change in the menu expectations? Because gosh, there are only 4 of us at the table here. And then my hope in this talk has been really to also say that developing better understanding of ourselves in this moment. We have to do an awareness shift of the real space that we are living in. We cannot pull up our holiday selves and have that be the character. There is an invite to us to say to each other, gosh, we've never done this before. We don't know how to do a holiday in virtual status. And we don't know how to do. We haven't had this situation really since World War II
Right.
of an overwhelming death count in our world. Vietnam lost 58,000 people over 13, 14 years. And yet the whole society was in tumult at that time. This is cosmic in a reality that is causing us to really kind of look at ourselves and saying, you know, we're not going to do this perfectly. And we are carrying with us a load of grief and uncertainty and anxiety and depression. And how we help each other through this time is not about maximizing celebration, but it's how we help each other carry each other through this very unusual time. And we can do that with each other. So that's the better understanding part. I'm gonna kind of turn this over now. I see Angelina smiling, and
Yes.
and it's 1:34, and I really appreciate the opportunity to give this message to you. We're going to be putting some things out on our weekly newsletters of tips and tricks and trades. And let's see. Oh, good. Did I block you, Angelina?
No, not at all.
All right.
So
I love y'all, and
thank you, Dr. Neal. So
okay.
for you guys that are joining, we are live with our Executive Director, Dr. Neal Sarahan. We have our Program Director, Angelina Hudson, that we are discussing coping strategies for holiday and pandemic stress. So Angelina, you have a small presentation for us.
Very short, and it really does a great job of complementing all that Neal just said, because this is a different time, and this generation, maybe a couple of generations before, have not experienced such grief and anxiety on a large scale before. And so we do need reminders on how to cope. So I just want to kind of share some of those tips and strategies you might use, and some things to look out for, because someone did ask, well, what do I do if I live alone? Because Corona has really trapped a lot of us in our homes. And even if we're not trapped in our homes, we're cut off from a lot of family members who are terrified, and they're not going to come over and do the same things, right? We don't have the same interaction as we had before. So let's look at a few symptoms that really represent anxiety. So, and I want to be careful with throwing around the word mental illness. We're really talking about watching out for your mental health, right? We already had coping strategies before this, before this pandemic. If I could see everyone, I'd ask you to raise your hand if you've ever been anxious before. So we have experience and ways we cope with our typical anxiety, right? But these are some things to watch out for if they start to take up more and more and more of your time. Excessive worrying about things you didn't even worry about before. It's a brand new worry now, and it kind of keeps you up. You find yourself focusing on that a lot. Agitated in a way that you've not been agitated before. You're not yelling and snapping at people because you can't hear them. You're snapping at them because you can, restlessness, not being able, you used to sleep 8, 9, 10 hours. Matter of fact, you used to hit the snooze button. Now you're up. You're up late, you're up early, unusual fatigue, not the typical kind, but, in a way that you hadn't experienced. Irritability, tense muscles, trouble falling or even staying asleep. Panic attacks, anxiety attacks, and those have more physical somatic symptoms like, you can't breathe, you can't catch your breath, you didn't really do anything for that to come about, but you find that you're antsy, you don't know what to do with your hands, avoiding social situations. You don't answer the phone. You get upset when the doorbell rings. It could be just the mailman, but you don't know, and so you're now avoiding the things that you used to do, like go to the grocery store. You don't want to do anymore. And irrational fears. Now, these are things that, you can't take a shower until somebody comes over, it's just, irrational things that you notice, new behaviors that you didn't have before. These are all anxiety driven, right? Some things that might point towards depression, because these are truly the two things that you might see first once you start behaving in a way that to control your behavior. But let's say you're slipping into some depressive kind of thinking or mood. And again, this may not mean you have an actual diagnosis. It doesn't mean that you have a chemical imbalance of your brain, but you're experiencing a stressful life event, right? And your brain is trying to regulate in a way it hasn't regulated before. So you might feel hopeless. I know it seems like this thing should have been gone by now. Where is the vaccine? And who's going to take it?
Right.
I'm not, so, you may have this hopeless outlook on how long this is going to last, how much fallout and how much illness are we going to see, and how many loved ones are we going to lose? You may even have lost interest in some of the regular hobbies that you used to do because you can't do it the same way. You threw parties at your home, and you can't have people over now. So you have to find some sort of way to manage the sense of loss and burden. One of the first cousins of depression is anxiety. So one of the ways we kind of slip into depressive thoughts and feelings and emotions is through symptoms of anxiety. The feeling of panic and dread, and that heart rate going up, and rapid breathing and sweating, and irritability. And here's the big thing. What if you say, look, people I live with was already irritable? How do I know this is a mental health problem? I mean, the people I live with, they were already, what did we say? They were already hopeless. They had already got on my last nerve. We were already, just fitified, just having a really difficult time. And now it's really beyond. So here's what you're looking for. You're looking for the relationships are no longer manageable. The tricks and tools that you used to use to help everybody feel like they belong, like Dr. Neal was saying, the things that you did, the plans that you made, even around the holidays that worked, those relationships now are being threatened by the very coping strategies you had in place. You find that you can't go to work, or you don't feel like going to work. You've used up, you don't know what's going to happen because you're still taking off. Or there's something called presenteeism. You're going to work, but you're not working. You're there, but you're really not there. Or if it's a student in school, they're in school, but they're really not functioning like they're in school. And this can go for children as well. And then the last thing, you're having trouble with your daily function. Schedule, what schedule? Let's see, I think it was 3 days ago I took a shower. You're not able to kind of keep up with some of the regular routine things. That's when, it's probably time to kind of say, I need to reach out. I need to get some attention to these feelings that I'm having. I thought this was going to be a month or 2 or 3. It's now 6 or 7 or 8, and I can't manage this alone. So what are you going to do? Okay. All of this was about self-care. This was about taking care of yourself so that you can, like I said, we're not diagnosing anyone here. We're just saying you're a little bit worried and you got to beef up your self-care strategies. So what are some of those strategies that you may or may not have thought of? How do you address these symptoms of the blues that are beyond the blues? Anxiety that's beyond what you can typically cope with. Number one, start asking yourself every day, how do I feel? What do I need? I mean, and if you've got to ask yourself that more than one time a day. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people struggle with feeling words, and they struggle with a list of needs, unmet needs. So you can Google it. You know, give me some feeling words, Google. Give me some needs that people have, Google, and start looking at what do you feel and what do you need. Stay connected. Okay, you don't have company coming to the house. I used to drive to work all the time on West Dallas, and there was a little guy that would stand at the bus station, and he would just, at the bus stop, and he would just wave at everybody. I don't know if you ever saw him, Neal, but he used to wave at everybody going by. And I'm not saying go outside and wave at people. I'm not, but I am saying do something different. You know, say hi to your neighbor, take a walk around the block, speak to people. I didn't even know some of my neighbors until I started walking, you know, and start enjoying being outside. Do something different than you did before, but stay connected. Now, right now, there's a lot of opportunities on Zoom, but I'm gonna get to that with online support. Create structure in your routine. Try to put yourself on a schedule, you know, not a micro schedule, but just a broad, like I'm gonna wake up somewhere between 6 a.m. and 12 noon. Right? I'll get dressed, I'll do my hair, whatever, you know, but put some structure to your day, especially if you're retired or you're not working right now, that kind of thing. Feed the body and the brain, right? So don't just feed the body, but also get involved in some activity. You know, I think it's been 20 years since I played gin. I'm not talking about the drink, I mean the card game. And so, you know, pick up a hobby. I actually played the piano the other day. I picked up a piece I hadn't touched in years. So what you do is you just try to do something different. And, you know, think of it as self-care. Think of it as something you can do for you. Move more, sit less, draw on personal coping skills, pick up something like a writing club or a book club, stay informed, but live in exposure. Cut the news off sometimes. And then online support groups. There are so many support groups now online, right? And you know, and one of the things you can do if you don't know how to navigate and find these things are available to you through your internet, call the warm lines. We have a number of warm lines in the greater Houston area, one right through NAMI Greater Houston. And I'm gonna give you a very easy way to get to it. Hold on, I wanted to make one more note about mental health considerations in your home. Many of us are not only worried about our own mental health, but the people in our house. Pay attention to the people that you're around, your neighbors, your spouse, your caregiver, or maybe you're the caregiver, your siblings, your children, your extended family. You know, one of the things that Dr. Neal mentioned is that not only do we have to change the menu of our old coping strategies, but this is a time now to reach out to one another and start supporting one another. So if you see someone spiraling out of control, this is where I want you to kind of think about reaching out to. NAMI Greater Houston has a warm line, right? And you can certainly give us a call. The number is on the screen. But if you're not local and you're not in the Houston area, you can text the 1-800 number, which is 888-511-NAMI. If you just text the word warm line, someone from our warm line operation at the office will give you a call back. And this is kind of like one-on-one support to help you figure out what to do next. Say, I've tried everything. I can't think of another thing I can do. Reach out to us. One of the things we know is that a lot of members who are living with mental health conditions and caring for those who are living with mental health conditions, we're good at strategizing until we run out of ideas. So call us. Also, we have a number of free classes and support groups that are going on right now through the holidays. If you want a list of those classes and how to register, text the word holidays to the same 888 number, and we will send you that list so you can pick one of those classes to join in. Listen, NAMI cares. You know, one of our taglines is find help, find hope, but we're saying now one of these numbers. And we'll certainly give you a call back. Isn't that right, Dr. Neal?
That's right. And Carmen has from Diana Aglehart, she has another number that can be used. Go ahead, Carmen.
So if you guys follow any of our social media at namigreaterhouston.org, Facebook and Instagram, we have some amazing resources as far as getting active. I know you probably hear a lot as far as the importance of staying healthy. You have to have a healthy body, have a healthy mind. So links and mental health calendar, we provide an entire calendar of activities that you can do each day for the entire month of December. We posted
That's
that
a
on
good idea.
Facebook. So if you guys just want to kind of get an inspiration on, well, what can I do today? Just go to our Facebook page. It's a great resource. It's great for stress reduction and trying something different. We definitely thank our partners with the links.
How do we get that calendar?
The calendar is already on our Facebook page. We also
Okay.
put it out on our newsletter. We'll repost it today, but these are good activities that they have shared and it kind of keeps you active. Another thing that my neighborhood is doing is, for the first time, I've been in my neighborhood for 15 years and I go crazy when it comes to Christmas decorations. I think I'm always the only one that just goes insane because I love the theme of the holidays. But what they did this year different was that they actually created a contest, just a plain contest among neighbors. First, second, and third prize. Just do something decorative with your house, whatever that may be. And if you guys don't have in your neighborhood the app called Nextdoor, it's a free app. You can download it. It basically tells you everything around your neighborhood and surrounding areas. And I just logged in over the weekend and we had neighbors that were have been just inside their homes, just started walking around the neighborhood and started taking pictures of the houses and just kind of engage in this small contest that the community put together just to get people out there. So if you guys are in a community that just walking around your neighborhood 20, 30 minutes a day, and just look at the lights, that's something that's going to be very good for your mental health as far as just inspirational and getting that routine of getting an exercise there and also seeing something. Take your kids there in that stroll of just staying within your neighborhood and feeling safe to be able to see some of those Christmas lights.
That's a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you. What else we got?
Anything else you share?
Angelina, we got more slides. Am I seeing here? Or?
No, that was actually my last. Oh, over here. I was just warning against burnout. Usually when we use that term, we think about professionals only, right? Those who work in the caring and giving community. But really, our family members burn out as well. You know, we take on the burden of being responsible for so many. So I was trying to give us a reminder that we can get physically and emotionally exhausted too. So again, we are concerned about your mental health. And I know we're the National Alliance of Mental Illness, but you don't have to have a diagnosed mental illness to reach out to us for help and support. You do not. You can just be looking for ways to avoid being in that number and reach out to us for help and support through our classes, of course, a presentation like today, and our support groups. And we're there for you. So this is how you get in touch with us, and we're waiting by the phone.
Angelina, can you share a little bit as far as our holiday classes? I know this is something that's never been done that we actually put together because there was a need within the community. Can you share with
Sure, absolutely.
Right now?
Absolutely. It took us a minute to figure out how to get all of our classes online and delivered and executed online. And once we did, people were still reeling from those first few months of the coronavirus, job layoffs, sizing, reorganizing in different jobs and so forth. And so we decided to kind of launch a new set of classes during the holidays. We never do that because usually people go out of town or they have family over or a lot of shopping to do, that sort of thing. But what we recognized this time is not only was the community still really hoping to jump into a class since they're at home, right? But we also had teachers who still wanted to teach. They wanted to connect. They too find a lot of hope and recovery just by supporting, because all of our classes are peer facilitated. Right? So it's no like big I and little you. We're all in this community together, sharing and learning from one another. So the holiday classes, and there's 9 of them, are for adults who have loved ones with diagnoses or at least the signs and symptoms of a mental health condition. Then there's classes for parents of children. You may say, you know, Johnny's never been diagnosed. That's fine. But if you feel like either Johnny has a diagnosis or you're developing one because you're taking care of Johnny, then we want you to join our class and let's talk about it. And if a class is too, if you can't seem to wrap your head around, like I'm gonna join this class for 8 weeks and I'm gonna come, don't worry about it. Join a support group. We have support groups as well. So it just kind of depends on what your flavor is. If you want to vent and do all the talking, I say go to a support group. But if you want to sit and learn and find out how the rest of us cope with these very serious challenges at times, then yeah, we want you to join one of our classes.
And just to mention, as far as something that you may want to do, maybe, not around this time, but maybe after the holidays or something that just to kind of get you out there is the importance of volunteering. So we have some great volunteer programs, as you mentioned. All of our teachers are kind of peer-led and facilitators that were or are volunteers for teaching those classes. So if anyone ever wants any information as far as our volunteer program, you can contact us on our website. Just click on join us for volunteer information. We'll be happy to kind of send some information to you. So if you want to,
we have a lot of trainings coming up, Carmen. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Or if you want to,
yeah, I wanted to add. I just noticed at the food bank, it was great. The executive director there is, I think his name is Brian Green, and he was on the media the other day saying, really, we like. We like asking for money, but more than anything else, we need volunteers at the food bank, and there are opportunities for this. That's that quadrant about social care and social purpose, right? We've gotten a number of people who have called in and say to NAMI, who said, gee, my family needs to contribute something in the way of service in this holiday in order to help us get through. So fill in that quadrant of social care and purpose is it's so important. And I wanted to again accentuate that there is opportunity on the Houston site for NAMI, for the food bank, for the our caregiver, our AARP Houston site, that they're putting out this information on pretty much a daily basis. It can be a flood, but if you are looking for an opportunity to get involved in something bigger than yourself, or to invite people to make like your neighborhood, Carmen, just to pull a neighborhood together, then these are really, really fun, excellent opportunities that are available. So we're again grateful to the Caregivers Alliance, right? And to all of our community partners, because together we're going to really make the difference. It's
so the message that we received from both of you guys today is basically whatever that definition is for you to stay connected, whether it's your family, whether it's in a virtual component, whether it's your neighbor, anything that you can do. The theme is these are different times. We're dealing with them as we go. So just find a way to be realistic, accept the situation that we are, and realize that this is hopefully temporary. This is not going to be a permanent thing, and just kind of have that future, hope that things will change. But just stay realistic. Don't be too hard on yourself. We definitely appreciate all the resources and all the strategies that both of you guys have shared. And just to remind everyone, today's Tuesday Talk is sponsored by AARP. So please visit their website, aarp.org. They have a lot of information, a lot of resource tools. They have their caregiving planning guide for the family. They have coronavirus information. They have caregiving preparation tools. More to come on their website. So we definitely appreciate them for even virtual programs that they have going on. So if you guys just visit their website, they will have you some useful information. Anything else before we close? I always like to ask this before we leave on the last. If we have Angelina and Dr. Neal, just share one fun memory of your holiday, whatever it was, whether it's Christmas or Thanksgiving or any holiday. Just give us one fun memory that you would like to share with everyone.
Well, I have a new fun memory. Every year I usually order my turkey for Thanksgiving, and this year I forgot. So instead of getting upset about it the night before, I just ran to the grocery store and I bought everything so I could make pork pozole, which is kind of like a Mexican soup, but everybody loved it. I really didn't have any leftovers, so it was great.
That's a good sign.
So you just transition. If things don't go the way you want it to go, just think of what you can do and make it easy.
Yep. A pork tenderloin tastes really good, and it doesn't take 7 hours, and changing the menu is something that it helped in our second recovery from Thanksgiving, and I think the thing that I'm trying to figure out is going into the holidays is that moments when you look in somebody's eyes and you see that you've touched them and they feel known. You know, they feel known. And so that's the moment that I'm trying to think about as I assemble my lists of, you know, it's not what do I want to give them, is how do I want to let them know how important they are in my life, and that they are known. So it's a bit of a shift that we sometimes can do. And so anyway, that's one for me. Does anybody else have any that they want to contribute in? We could take everybody off speaker and finish up here. And
we're at our time now.
Then we were unfair. You are known, and we appreciate you.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, sorry, I thought it was delayed. We definitely want to thank everyone that's joining our weekly Tuesday talks. Any information that you guys want to share, you can just replay this, share the video to someone that may need it on your Facebook. We also will repost a portion of the video on our social media platform. And be prepared to join next week's Tuesday talk. As we were talking about facilitators and peer-led, we have a special teacher facilitator for the Latinx community that's been a volunteer of NAMI Greater Houston for many, many years. He's actually teaching the Spanish class that started last week. So he will be our Tuesday talk guest, completely in Spanish, which we've never done before. We definitely want to reach out to that community. So join us next Tuesday, same time, 1 p.m. on Facebook Live with our special guest, Sergio Aguirre, that he will be joining and talking to that community. Thank you guys for joining, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining our Tuesday talks.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Thanks.